everyone, welcome back to Spare Room Studio. Today I'm going to share my completed pages with you for November 2025. To start with, I'll share my Alice in Wonderland pages. I did them for one of the hashtags this month for November Mad Tea Party, and I'll put the actual hashtag and the details in the description box. But this particular book here is probably my favourite work for the month. This one is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Charles Santor, and I coloured this particular page using gel crayons, a few Prismacolor at the end, and I've used workable fixative. But when I talk about gel crayons or Bible highlighters that are gel highlighters, I'm talking about these things that are like a crayon, and they're a bit like a lipstick setup that you wind them up and down like a lipstick. They have the consistency of a lipstick. But that's what I'm talking about as a gel highlighter or Bible highlighter. They're called on a number of sites when you order them. Somebody did mention that they got a bit confused and they thought I was talking about these, which are marker highlighters, usually in neon or fluorescent colours, but you can get them in all different colours these days. But no, I'm talking about the gel highlighters. So I use gel crayons and these to colour that page, and there is a video of me colouring this page which shows you how I go about using them and the methods that I used and so on. So same thing, gel crayons, gel highlighters, a little bit of pencil when it was... Also with Alice in Wonderland, I got quite a few pages done for Alice in Wonderland this month. And that came, pardon me for my voice, that came about because of these two books. I realised that I wasn't reaching for this little book, Escape to Wonderland by Good Wives and Warriors. There's just something about the art style that I just don't like it as much as I thought I was going to. And so I don't reach for it very often, which is kind of sad because there's a couple of pages in there that I really like. So I started this one and I'm almost finished, but what I decided to do was use things up that were at danger of drying up before I got to them. So in particular, pigment markers. These ones are a cheap brand, a home brand here in Australia, and they're a small brush tip pigment marker, not very expensive. It's only a set of 24, but there's something about them that I didn't really like. So what I decided to do was go through the books that I was not reaching for and just colour wherever I want to. So you'll see, you know, there are some pages that may never get completed, but I coloured the elements that I felt I wanted to with the colour that I had in my hand at the time. So I'm starting to get some elements in pages coloured, and I may come back to it and finish it, and I may not. It may get to a point where I like it enough that I think, yeah, I really want to see this done now. So that's the approach that I took for that book. So I didn't actually complete one in there, but I'm very close. This just needs a bit of gel pen on some of the details. But it more so came to pass in this particular book because I love the artwork. It's Alice in Wonderland by Olga Goloveshkina. Great artwork. I love the quirky style, the quirky images, but I hate the paper. The paper is like glorified tissue paper or toilet paper, and it's so absorbent. Alcohol markers bleed past the lines really easily. The water-based markers are not too bad, but I like to use a lot of water with them, so the water was bleeding past the lines, uncontrollable. And something that I don't like about it is that because I'm doing an image in the centre of the page, it's only buckling in these places because of where the water is. It's kind of twisting the paper a bit or something. And I just don't like it, you know. It wasn't sitting well with me, and to me it was ruining the whole in experience and enjoyment of colouring in this book. So I looked for ways to get around that, and these little markers in a tub next to my chair with some water-based markers, I just started to colour elements on pages, whatever I felt like at the time. I don't know if I'm ever going to get around to finishing it, but it's helped me get pages to a good point where I can come back and use coloured pencils over the top to finish it off. They may never get finished, doesn't matter, but you know, they're pretty close, a lot of them now, that I could finish that off. So what I did get finished was this particular page was water-based markers, and I used the water as I mentioned, but this was the catalyst for changing how I went about the rest of them, because I really didn't like what was happening here, and the fact that it bled past lines in ways that I couldn't control. So I waited for it to dry, and then I used coloured pencils over the top of it to complete that one. So there are quite a few in here that, you know, just, they're close, but I didn't get them finished. So this one again is pigment markers with colour pencil over the top. This one was Prismacolor, and I used a little bit of neon or fluorescent from the Faber-Castell Connector pen range just to go over those sorts of details. This one I did as well, same sort of thing, pigment markers with Prismacolor over the top, and then I've used a little bit of Jelly Roll in the, I think it's Moonlight, very fluorescent neon colours, so I used the gel pen there. This one is pigment markers with Prismacolor or Artex, I'm not sure. I think it might be a bit of both, but I wanted a bit of a blue theme for this page because I don't often base my pages in blue, so I wanted to do something a bit different for that one. This one is pigment markers again with coloured pencil over the top. And then that shiny background, that is actually another cheap pen that I got, similar story to this, from Kmart here in Australia. They were cheap. I think these are a bit of a knockoff for more expensive acrylic markers. I'm just getting one here to show you that hasn't been used. So after shaking it several times, you press the end and the paint or ink comes out through that brush nib there, and I find that if you don't shake them well enough that the glitter doesn't always come out evenly. To me the quality just wasn't really there, and I'm not overly happy with them, so I'm just using them up on a few pages. That's what's on there, so I decided I may as well use it up in some of these fun quirky pages. So I got very close to finishing a lot of these. Now this one again, another similar idea happened with this one. I've got these pens here which are again from the same place as this, Kmart. And they were cheap. I think they were on clearance, and I got this set of colours, this set, and pastels. And how these work is that you get your they're alcohol based, so you get your colourless one, and you hold the tip to tip. You're supposed to hold them upright for a while. These are drying out now because I've used them a few times. Again, I felt that the quality is just not there, so they're wearing out very quickly. And then I've already done some testers there. You colour with them, and as you keep colouring, the colour slowly disappears until you've got nothing left. And you can, according to the box, you can touch several colours 3 colours it says. So what I did was I had to play around with the purple and then a couple of colours out of here, and I started on her hair and did a bit of an ombre sort of effect. But it was very patchy. It didn't work great. As I say, the quality, again, the idea's there, but the quality just isn't. So you get what you pay for with this sort of thing. And I decided to just go over it with coloured pencil and strengthen it up, tidy it up. So this page is a combination of the pigment markers and these magic mix markers and coloured pencil, and it turned out really well. I'm really happy with the way that it's worked, and I really enjoyed the colours that had that sort of fluorescent look about them. So I just used all my fluorescent pencils on there to brighten it up a bit more, and that's how she turned out. So I mean, it's okay in the end, but you know, these sorts of things, when the quality isn't there, they're not reliable, and I find that they tend to run out or dry out very quickly, and usually at an inconvenient time, as happened with this page. I used the background, I used this, and one colour ran dry, so I had to use a lighter one there, because you've got absolutely no inkling when you're picking this up of how much ink is left in it. And that's why I tend to steer clear from these sorts of things for the most part, because I find that it's usually just so inconvenient when they do run out of ink. But anyway, so I used black glaze pen to do all the detailing around. I've got Artex Prismacolor fluorescent pencils. I've also got a little bit of that in the fluorescent colour, I think. Yeah, because I've got a pink set of these markers, and that's what's used on the helmet there. It's kind of like a colour shift. It looks quite pinkish red, and then when you do that, it's more orange. So it's a great concept, but just, yeah, quality's not there. Yeah, so well, not really much else to be said about that one, but that's how I managed to get so many pages done. And because I worked on them, like I didn't finish anything for days and days, but I had lots of pages almost finished. And then at the end, it was just a case of finishing off a bit of, you know, neon or glaze pen or something, and bang, I had, you know, 4 pages done in next to no time. It appeared, but they were done over a couple of weeks. So that's one way to get colouring in books that you're not reaching. And then the last book about Alice is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Forrest Diver, and I coloured the Queen of Hearts using water-based markers with coloured pencil over the top. And I don't feel that this book needs backgrounds done, because they're so busy, there's so much happening that I feel like that's quite enough without having a background to contend with as well. And then I did the King of Hearts. He is done with Langro gel pen and a little bit of Langro acrylic marker on the inside of his cape, but it's all just solid Langro gel pen, and I'm not sure if you can see that lovely shine that you get with them when you work with them. Very solid and opaque. They have a little bit of a shine to them, which reminds me of not gloss paint, but acrylic paint that gets that sort of plasticky shine about it. So that was those 2 pages, and I also coloured this one here, which is a little bit unusual because I don't often reach for the landscape pages. I don't know why. I don't know. I feel like they're a little bit more awkward to work on perhaps, but I don't often choose landscape formats books this month. Black Friday sales and other reasons, but there's a couple came in that pretty much I coloured in the same day that I bought them. So that tells me when something really is my thing, or I've been excited to colour in it, because I'll often do something in it, you know, very much the same day. So this is Tanglewood by Jessica Palmer. It's not a new book, it's been out for several years, but this one does say large format edition. I don't know, maybe it came in a smaller one to start with. It's not really my thing that I normally reach for, but I was in a local art shop and I saw it and I was able to flick through it. And straight away, the images reminded me of some of the quirky stuff that Maia at Coloured by Maia colours. And I thought they'd be perfect for loosening up my style, practicing different colours and mediums and techniques that aren't really my go-to thing. But a bit like what I did in this book, I can just colour elements, and whether I finish it or not, I'm not going to put any pressure on myself. So when I got home, straight away I coloured this particular page. And in the same art store, I went in for white Prismacolor and to look at a couple of other things, and I came out with a colouring book and a couple of open stock pencils, and these Mungyo, Gallery by Mungyo watercolour crayons. There are 12 in this set. They were $22.95 Australian for 12, and I thought that they might be like Caran d'Ache Neo Colour 2s, and they are kind of, but they're not. So they're very similar concept, but these are very, very hard compared to the Caran d'Ache Neo Colour 2. But they work the same way, so they've all dissolved on the paper really well. Not a problem with them diluting or dissolving. Sorry, can't get my words out. But they are very hard. They are certainly not Caran d'Ache Neo Colour 2. But for 12, for less than $23, they're a cheaper alternative to see whether you like that sort of thing. Well, that was the price here in an art store in Australia. So I haven't looked them up online. I've got no desire to get any more or do anything else with them. But they are going to be handy to have again next to my armchair in front of the TV, and to just colour with them willy-nilly. So I used a few coloured pencils on here to see whether the coloured pencil lay over the top of it. I also used a few Caran d'Ache Neo Colour 2s just to compare, and they were much softer. They went on the paper much softer than what the Mungyo ones do. So I didn't have any bleed through. There's a little bit of transfer of the print because when I used the pencil I didn't have a backing sheet in, so where I've pressed hard with pencil it's transferred some of the ink, but there's absolutely no bleed through. And I want to, my plan is for this book is I want to use all the crazy bright colours that I want, you know, to colour it however I want. I don't have to colour these things like real owls. I can colour them however I want. So I've already started a couple of other pages. That's water-based markers, and I've used a bit of water on there. It did bleed through. So obviously when the water goes through, there are some mediums where the pigment gets dragged through the paper easier. So those crayons didn't, but the water-based markers have. They've gone through. So this is, you know, how I plan to approach it. I saw that butterfly, I wanted to colour it, had the colours in my hand. You know, I'd already worked with them here. I just flicked through the book and coloured that. And that's how I'm going to approach it. I don't know if I will colour all of these pages. I don't know if I'll even share them with you. But my idea was that I could, I'm just trying to find a page. You watch, it'll probably be the next one. No? There's a lot of open space, which will call for things like oil pastels or gel crayons. So there you go. But there's also lots of details. So markers, pencils, you know, and so on will be needed for those. But I just thought I would do it like I did with the Alice in Wonderland book. I really enjoyed that, just flipping through and colouring elements and doing whatever, you know, took my fancy, whatever caught my eye, I went ahead and coloured it. And that's what I plan to do with this particular book. So you may never see it again. I don't know, you know, if I do something that's worthy of sharing. But if I don't, this is just going to be for me. But very much inspired by Maia. I don't know if Maia's got this book, but I just thought of her when I saw these, you know, very quirky, unusual sort of designs. It just made me think of Maia and all her beautiful bright pages and layering stuff and mixed media, and yeah, that's what this book is going to be about for me. Next I have Mythographic Wild Summer. Now this is Joseph Kattenbang. I like mythographic books a lot, but I don't buy them at full price because they're usually in, you know, upwards of $35 Australian to buy a mythographic book, and I'd rather buy some other ones before I spend that on one book. But this came down in the Black Friday sale. I noticed that some books I put in my shopping cart, when I came to check out, they'd already gone back up in price, and I missed out on some bargains. So when I saw this one marked down, I grabbed it because I have been wanting to get this book for a while. And of course, I live in Australia, so we're now going into summer, so perfect timing. But this just goes to show that when a book really excites me or it has good paper, I will want to colour on it straight away. And I got 4 pages done in this one book within less than a week. So again, I based it with these Faber-Castell connector pens, water-based markers. Sometimes I used water on it, sometimes I didn't. Because it's single-sided, it doesn't matter, I can do what I want. And then I come over the top of it with some sort of pencil. And this past fortnight or so, I've had Artex, Prismacolor and Crayola out. So it could be any combination of those pencils that I've used over the top. The only thing I don't like about these particular books is I don't like them being perforated, because I seem to do this to all my pages really quickly. So that's the only thing I don't like about them. The paper itself is really nice to work on with pencils. It has that nice tooth to it. So this one I tried to give her the illusion of being under the water. So I coloured it very boldly for the water and the fish and everything. But when it came to the face, I did that quite softly. And then I came over it with all the colours I'd used in the water. I brought them over the top of her to give the illusion that she had, or she was under the water, and that it was reflecting off of her face. So that's what I did there. This one, I thought it was red pandas. I'm not sure if it is or it isn't, but I coloured them inspired by red pandas. Something weird going on here with this paw. It seems like it's twisted, but again, really just enjoyed using a water-based marker as a base, and then using as little or as much coloured pencil as I felt like putting on there. And I had an audio book that I was listening to, and I just basically coloured. And then while I had that pink in my hand, I might have gone on to another page with it. And I kept flipping between the 4 pages. And before I knew it, I had 4 completed pages. So this one hasn't got quite so much pencil on it because the colours worked really well. Again, it was these connector pens. Very bold, very vibrant, saturated, and it just needed a little bit of pencil just to bring in some definition and some shading again, but very much my thing. I loved the colours and how they worked out on that one. And then page number 4 was the tiger. So, you know, once I had the orange in my hand, I kept flipping between these pages and putting, you know, the orange pencil on. And then, you know, I'd go back to, I had the aqua or the ocean green or whatever colour it was, peacock blue. And I just kept flipping between the pages and seeing where I could put it. So they are very similar colours on these pages, and that's why, because that's how I approached colouring them. So yeah, really happy with that. And finally got some for Erica at Elm Colours with her colour mythographic that she's been doing as a hashtag all year. So I'll put those details in the description box. Another new one that came in this month is Alan Robert, The Beauty of Horror, Haunted Holidays. And this was another Amazon Australia buy on Black Friday. It went down really, really cheap, and I thought, I like the paper that's in the colour, the tarot one, of Horror Tarot. I haven't actually coloured in this one yet, but you can feel that it's a really nice heavy paper. And so horror isn't normally my genre that I go for, but I find his brand of horror to be quite amusing for some reason. And I like the style, the very bold graphic style really did appeal to me. So when I saw this marked down, I thought, well, why not? I'll give it a go. And what I liked about it is I didn't realise when I bought it, I was thinking Haunted Holidays, it's a funny Christmas theme. But when it came, it says flip for Halloween. And when you flip it over very cleverly, it's got Halloween on the other side. So I know horror's not for everybody, but I've started that, not quite finished yet. But I'm not always into, how can I put it? Christmas for me now, I've opted out of getting too involved in the over-commercialisation of Christmas. Christmas for me is about spending time with my granddaughter and making it fun for her. But if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even put a Christmas tree up. I've really gotten out of the enjoyment of Christmas. And I have pulled out a stack of books that are either Christmas themed or have Christmas pages. And I will get involved with some Christmas colouring, but it's not a be-all, end-all situation for me. I can take it or leave it. So I kind of found this a bit amusing. You know, it is what it is. So the day that it arrived, I started colouring this page, and I've already finished it. And I've got about, I think it's 7 pages that I've started. And the same thing, I had these pigment markers by my side, and I just put a little bit of colour here and there where I wanted it, wherever I wanted it. And then grabbed the pencils. I had them by my chair, and I've been sitting with an audio book, listening to an audio book or watching TV, and I finished this page, got stuck in, and you know, I started colouring, and I've just about finished that page. I've just got to do the little snowflakes down there, and I've got 7 pages started in this book, so I won't show you all of them because, you know, there'll be finished pages for the end of the month, but you'll see that I've got. So again, nice paper, really, really nice paper. And that makes all the difference for me, it seems. Either the subject has to be one that really grabs me, and as I said, horror isn't really my thing. These little characters are a bit, you know, a bit gruesome. But the drawing style, the paper and everything's really very nice to work on. So you will be seeing more of this one next month. So that is Beauty of Horror, Haunted Holidays by Alan Robert. Now, I received a number of books this month, well, last month actually, from Get Creative 6. and they asked me would I like to review and colour in their books. I said yes please. So last month you saw me colour in a couple and do comparisons with other published versions of the books. And then this month I've got 3 books here that are new to me that I've never seen before. So to start with, I'll go with So Many Cute Animals by Kimma Parrish, a much smaller book. And I've got a flip through on the channel, and then I do a bit of a test colour for you to see my thoughts on how the paper copes with various things. Obviously, I like to use a lot of water, and not many books cope with a lot of water. So, you know, I wanted to share that with you so you could see what would happen. But the paper was very nice with coloured pencils. So this page has actually got a combination of stuff on there. There's Inktense, watercolour pencils, water-based markers, Crayola pencils, Prismacolor and Neocolor 2 on there. So if you're interested in seeing how and where I've used those things, there is a video on the channel that you can watch. But very nice to colour in. The paper's very nice feeling. It just does not cope with the amount of water that I throw at it. But, you know, hey, I'm really hard on my books. So that's really no reflection on the quality of the book, because I am extremely hard on them. So this one is Garden of Dreams by Yoshimi Sakaguchi, and again I did a couple of tests in the back first. So I did a flip through, then I showed you a few little tests of markers, and you know they bleed through as well. So on this page I used markers, but I didn't use quite so much water with them, and I did manage to get away with that. No bleed through. But I was really careful with how much water I used with them. This has also got, I think it's Artex pencils, Prismacolor pencils. I've got some acrylic paint markers in the border, some gel pen, there's gel crayon in the background. Yeah, I think that's about it. So, yeah, very, very pretty book. Again, a very good quality book. Don't be put off by the bleed through that you see that I get, because I do put too much water on. But the marker on its own didn't go through. There's a little bit of shadowing where I did 2 layers, but where the marker only is, it didn't bleed through. It's because I put the water on it. So, you know, you can get away with using markers if you be very cautious about how you use them. And then I started a page where I just wanted to see how pencil without a base of any kind worked. And I can't remember if this was Crayola or Artex. I think it might have been Crayola, I'm not sure. But as you can see, it works up quite nice on there. So the quality of the paper to work on is very nice. The line work is very nice. It's not too heavy. It's very even and regular, and it's a very nice book. So yeah, Garden of Dreams, Yoshimi Sakaguchi. So I think this is a English release of a book that's already been around for quite some time as a Japanese published book, I think. They also sent me Love and Dystopia by Anne Zhu, and this page again coloured on video for you. I also do a flip through so you can see whether the book is something that you'd like to add to your collection as well. I used alcohol markers, water-based markers, Languo gel pen, Inktense over the top of the alcohol marker, coloured pencils are Crayola, Prisma and Faber-Castell Polychromos, and everything worked fine. Didn't have a problem with anything. As you can see, it's single-sided, so you can get away with those alcohol markers, no problem. I used a very small amount of water, so that's not a probably big enough area to prove anything really, but it hasn't bent or cockled or anything like that. With a small amount of water, it was okay. And again, it felt okay colouring with pencils on there. You know, the quality of the paper, there's a little bit of a tooth, not a lot. It's quite smooth, so the alcohol markers worked like a dream on it. And you can see that it went through, which is what you'd expect, but it didn't carry through onto my blotter sheet very much. So you know, it wasn't sucking too much of the alcohol marker ink up. It was nice to work with. So if you wanted to see a flip through of this book and check that out, see whether it's your style. It's a manga colouring book, which is a new style for me. But yeah, if you like big books, because it's quite large, a little bit bigger than a Kirby Roseanne's or a Johanna Basford, I think. And then last but not least, I got round finally to colouring in this little book, Bramley Hedge Nature Colouring Book by Jill Barklam. I've had it a few months since it came out, and have only just gotten around to colouring in it. I found with the first book by Jill Barklam, the Bramley Hedge, I'll just grab it, the festive colouring book. When I tried to use water in this one, it bled through quite badly. That was Inktense that I tried there, and a little bit of water-based marker, but mostly Inktense, and it bled through really badly, and it's wrinkling up a lot. So I just sort of stopped there and didn't do any more with that. And the only other page that I've done in here so far was Crayola coloured pencil, and because that works so nicely, I decided to use Crayola in here and Artex. So not a big page, but I just wanted to see how the paper coped. And there's a nice bit of tooth to the paper. I think it's slightly different to this one. This one's got a bit of a off-white creamish look to it. This is more white. This one feels a little bit heavier, I think, than this one. So I might have to look at testing water somewhere inconspicuous first, but not sure where I would do that. Maybe that little guy, or a little bit down here perhaps, and see whether it bleeds through. But yeah, the coloured pencil worked fine, so that was Crayola's and Artex. Absolutely no problem at all with those two pencils on this paper. So that was a start in that particular book. So I had all sorts this month. What I've noticed is that I do like to participate in hashtags when I can. So Alice in Wonderland, it did feature quite a bit this month. But if you look, even just those 3 pages, very different style for all of the pages. Although I do like, it seems like animals feature quite a lot in pages that I colour. Animals and people. But there's such a wide range of images and styles that I've gone for, probably the last couple of months, I think. I don't know if I could say that I've actually got a preferred thing, really. I know I'm steering clear of realism lately. I seem to be enjoying these very quirky, you know, quirky styles of illustration much more than I am enjoying realism. Although, having said that, I'm going to finish here with a page that, you know, it's not photorealism. She doesn't look like a photograph, but very, very recognisable, whereas these are much more stylised and quirky. Yeah, I think I would find it hard to say that I've got a set thing that I look for these days. I want a lot of variety. So what I am finding though is that paper quality is really coming to play a big part in what I reach for recently. So the better the paper, the more chance it is it's going to get coloured in. But yeah, it's always interesting to do these videos and look back over the month and just see, you know, the wild sort of variety and weird things that I reach for or choose. I hope you had a good month in November. I hope you get to colour as much as you want in December. As I mentioned, I've opted out a lot of Christmas related stuff these days, so my time is not you know, my time is not an issue. Like I've usually got just as much time in December to colour as I do at any other time of the year, so maybe slightly less, but I do plan to do some Christmas colouring. As I mentioned, I've got a few books out, you know, that are geared towards Christmas, or books that have Christmas pages in them if they're not all Christmas related, you know, Christmas themed books, but they do have a number of pages in them. So I do hope to do some of that, and I think you're going to see again that there's quite a wide range of styles and themes that I colour come Christmas time. So I'll leave it there and wish you all well, and I will hopefully be back with another video for you again soon. So until then, take care everyone. Bye now.